In a world of financial turmoil and promises of quick wealth, Warren Buffett's famous quote resonates: "If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die." This is not only a reminder, but also a meaningful wake-up call about the necessity of passive income. While many people dream of a life of financial freedom, they often fail to realize that passive income is not an easy dream, but a long, challenging journey that requires initiative from the very first steps. Passive income, a concept often mentioned in conversations about personal finance, is always imagined as an easy path where money automatically flows in without you having to do anything else. However, the reality is not that simple. Although many people dream of having passive income, not everyone knows the real path to achieve it. Some people succeed, but many fail. The reason is simple: they do not understand the nature and what is needed to build a sustainable passive income. The purpose of this video is to decode the truth about passive income, giving you a practical and detailed look at how you can build a passive income stream not based on blind faith, but through strategic steps, patience and insight. If you are looking for ways to generate income without working constantly and want to live a life of financial freedom, this is where you will find useful and practical information. 2. The truth about passive income. No passive income without proactivity. When it comes to passive income, many people think it is an easy path where money flows automatically without you having to do anything. However, the reality is that no passive income exists without being proactive from the beginning. To have a stable income stream, you must proactively design the system, optimize the process, test and build a solid foundation. That is the difference between successful people and those who just dream about passive income without actually taking action, being proactive in the early stage. The first and most important step to building passive income is to be proactive. Being proactive is not just about starting a project, but also about designing a system that works effectively, optimizing the process, and testing until everything is perfect. To achieve passive income, you must truly understand that nothing happens naturally without effort, time investment, and patience. One of the typical examples of proactively building passive income is the story of James, the owner of the coffee chain James's Brew in the UK. James did not start his journey with a ready-made system, but had to build it from scratch. James's story, from small coffee shop to franchise system. James started his entrepreneurial career in 2015, when he decided to open a small coffee shop in a quiet neighborhood in London. This coffee shop was not the first place James opened, but he realized that while the coffee market in the UK is huge, not every shop has the uniqueness, comfortable space and excellent service of the big chains. He wanted to create a different space, where people not only come to enjoy coffee, but also to experience relaxation and moments of interaction. But James did not just open a coffee shop like others. He started by building a system for his shop right from the beginning. He proactively designed a standard brewing process, trained staff to serve customers best, and researched ways to optimize raw material and service costs. He also paid special attention to establishing standards for quality management and customer experience. With the initiative in building the process, after a year, James's coffee shop began to stabilize in terms of revenue and customers. However, instead of stopping at just a small coffee shop, James decided to expand his model by creating a franchise system. From coffee shop to franchise system. After 18 months of operation, James realized that the system he built not only brought in stable profits, but could also be applied to many different locations. Therefore, he decided to not only open more coffee shops, but also create a franchise model. He began researching the franchise model, creating detailed instructions for franchise partners, building a system to supply ingredients, train staff and support opening shops. After completing the model, James expanded his coffee system and started selling franchises to other investors. Each franchise partner had to pay an initial fee and share a portion of the revenue. James also provided ongoing support services, such as supplying ingredients, training staff and updating the latest trends in the coffee industry. After 3 years, James has 7 franchise cafes in different areas of London and is expanding to other cities across the country. Each month, James earns from franchise fees and revenue sharing, while he does not need to directly manage each cafe. All systems have been optimized to operate without his direct involvement. Lesson: proactively build systems and optimize processes. James' story teaches us an important lesson. Passive income is not a matter of luck or something that happens automatically, but the result of initiative and effort in the early stages. To build passive income, you not only need an idea, but also need to know how to design a system so that it operates effectively without your continuous involvement. James didn't just open a coffee shop, he proactively built a system from the ground up, and then optimized that system to be scalable and generate passive income from franchising. James' journey is proof that to have passive income, you need to build a solid foundation from the beginning and be persistent with the process you have set out. Conclusion: passive income is not an easy dream and certainly not a miracle. It requires initiative from the beginning, patience, and the ability to build a system that can operate on its own. James' story shows that being proactive in building and optimizing the process is essential to creating a sustainable income stream. When you proactively build a system, passive income will no longer be a distant dream, but a part of your long-term financial plan. Passive income isn't free, it costs you time or money. One of the most appealing things about passive income is the idea of earning money without having to work around the clock. But the truth is, passive income isn't free. It costs you time or money, or sometimes both. Nothing comes easy, and to achieve a steady stream of passive income, you have to make an initial investment, whether financial or physical. The truth about passive income, it doesn't come for free. When we think of passive income, the image of a leisurely life where money flows in without doing anything often comes to mind. However, behind that passivity lies an active process that is by no means short or easy. To achieve sustainable passive income, you have to make an initial investment, from planning, market research, to building systems and facilities. Certainly, to make money flow automatically, you need to have a thorough preparation and a little risk analysis. Investing in passive income. The theory of passive income sounds attractive, but the reality is not like that. To have passive income, you have to pay a price, whether in money or time. For some people, the first expense is the investment, while for others, they may have to spend time and effort to set up the system, and then, once the system is in operation, you need to have the discipline to maintain and optimize it. Sarah's story, a woman who invested in land and rooms. Let's look at the story of Sarah, a British woman who chose to invest in real estate to create passive income. Sarah is a teacher in London, with a stable job, but a low income. However, she was always worried about the future, especially when thinking about her retirement years, when her income would not be enough to maintain a comfortable life. With smart financial thinking, Sarah decided to invest in real estate. Initially, she did not have much money, but Sarah saved every month from her teacher's salary and started to accumulate enough money to put down a deposit on a small plot of land on the outskirts of London. This land was located near a new industrial area that was being developed, where there was a great demand for accommodation from workers. The first investment step, investing money, she decided not only to buy the land, but also to borrow some money from the bank to build 4 low-end rooms, serving workers away from home. Sarah was not a real estate expert, but she did her research thoroughly and planned carefully. She also hired a management company to help with maintenance and collect monthly rent. Once the room was built and rented out, Sarah began to receive income from renting out the rooms. However, she realized that managing the finances and maintaining the rooms was not always smooth. There were times when the rooms were damaged and there were no tenants, making the income not as steady as expected. But Sarah did not give up. She continued to invest in repairs, maintenance, and adjusted the rental prices to be reasonable. Patience and time investment. It was a challenge at first and she had to spend a lot of money, but after about a year, Sarah's efforts paid off. The rooms were fully rented and she received a steady income every month. This was the transition from having to work all the time to being able to generate passive income. However, Sarah did not stop there. She started saving and continued to invest in another piece of land. Not to buy more property, but to reinvest in new rooms. Sarah's lesson: investing in passive income is not free. Sarah's story shows us that passive income is not an easy path. Sarah paid the price in both time and money. She spent the first few years saving and learning about real estate, then spent a large amount of money to invest in land and rooms. But the important thing is that she constantly improves and optimizes the process, from understanding the rental market, managing customers, to maintaining her properties. Conclusion: passive income is a long journey. Nothing is free. To achieve passive income, you need an initial investment, whether money or time. Sarah's story proves that investment is not just about money, but also patience, initiative in building and maintaining the system. Only when you understand this clearly, can you build a sustainable income stream that automatically flows over time without depending on daily work. There is no shortcut to passive income. Work hard, create value, and share with the community. Passive income is an attractive goal that many people dream of, but not everyone understands that to achieve this, you have to go through a long process, and there are no shortcuts. There is no magic that will help you earn money automatically without putting in effort and investing time. The truth is, passive income does not come from passing by, but from hard work to build and create value. Only when you share that value with the community, and when the community is large enough, can you automate the process and start benefiting from a steady cash flow. Work hard and create value. Nothing is free in life, and especially in creating passive income. To get this income stream, you have to start by creating value. This value can be a product, service, or useful information that you can provide to the community. One of the most important factors in this journey is patience and the ability to work hard in the beginning first. You need to create value by using what you already know, the skills and experiences you have. It can be writing, teaching, creating crafts, or providing useful services to others. But more importantly, you need to share that value with the community, because only when you do, your value can start to grow and be accepted. James's story: a British student builds passive income from sharing study materials. Let's learn the story of James, an Oxford University student, who found a way to build passive income from sharing his study materials. James is a senior in economics, and he always felt that the study materials he created during his studies could help many other students. He realized that there was a great demand from new students or students who wanted to learn more but did not have enough time to prepare the materials. With his good ability to synthesize knowledge and study effectively, James started to compile lectures, study materials, exam questions, and review methods for his subjects. These materials are easy to understand, detailed, and very useful for students who need to review quickly. Initially, James only shared his materials with his friends and classmates. However, he realized that there were many students outside his school who also needed these materials. Therefore, James decided to share the materials on an online learning platform that he created himself. He didn't stop at just sharing free materials, but decided to sell the study materials as downloadable PDFs at a reasonable price, building a community and automating the process. By providing useful and quality study materials, James began to gain attention from other students. Over time, the community of people using his materials grew. He continued to build more detailed sets of materials for different subjects, and introduced articles and videos explaining effective learning methods to automate the process. James used tools and software to help automatically send the materials after users paid. He set up a complete automation system, from receiving orders, sending materials, to managing customer support requests. With this system, James doesn't have to work directly every day. Everything runs automatically, and he only needs to spend a few hours each week to maintain and optimize the system. Lessons from James' story: invest time in value and build a community. James' story shows us that passive income is not a shortcut, but a long journey that requires patience. James had to invest a lot of time in creating valuable learning materials and sharing them with the community. However, his real success came from automating the process and expanding the community of people using his materials. Conclusion: there are no shortcuts to passive income. To achieve it, you need to work hard, create value, and share that value with the community. Once the community is large enough, you can automate the process and start receiving a steady stream of passive income. But most importantly, this process requires patience, strategic thinking, and the ability to build a sustainable system. You can't skip the early stages of building a foundation, and once you're successful, passive income will flow automatically. Beware of passive income traps, the price of not distinguishing between truth and falsehood. Passive income is one of the goals that many of us dream of achieving. However, in this journey of pursuing financial freedom, there are many traps that we need to be wary of. Too good to be true money-making models always appear with the promise of huge profits without much work. But if you are not careful and cannot distinguish between truth and fraud, you may lose all your assets. Too good to be true models. Attractive passive income models are often designed with the promise of quick income. No effort, no risk, you just need to deposit money into a system and wait for the profit. However, most of these models are just traps that are very sophisticatedly built, preying on the greed of participants. Promises of high returns, such as high interest rates of up to 15% per month, are unbelievable. This is a warning sign. A safe investment can never bring such high returns without a very high level of risk. David's story: a programmer fooled by greed. The story of David, a talented programmer from London, is a typical example of how fake passive income models can fool smart people. David was a person with a stable income from his job as a programmer at a famous technology company. However, despite having a stable job, David always wanted to earn more money and achieve financial freedom. One day, he received an invitation from an old classmate about a new investment platform. This is a peer-to-peer lending model where participants can invest in lending projects and receive a return of 0.5% per day, equivalent to 15% per month. The profit is attractive and there is nothing too difficult. Just invest money, do nothing, and you will receive daily interest. Initially, David was skeptical and did not fully believe in this offer. However, when he saw his friends and colleagues participating and receiving real profits, he decided to invest a small amount of money to try. After a week, David withdrew both principal and interest from that platform without any problems. Seeing this, he became more confident and decided to increase the investment amount to £100,000, believing that he would control the risk and withdraw the money before any problems occurred. Passive income trap and the cost. However, after a month, the system suddenly stopped working. No one returned David's money. The websites and contact information were deleted. David could not withdraw his money, and all the money he invested in the platform disappeared. Later, he discovered that the platform was just a scam, where people took money from new participants to pay profits to previous participants. Analysis, reasons for failure and lessons learned. David's story clearly shows that passive income does not always come from attractive investments with the promise of high returns without doing anything. The reason David was scammed was because he let greed lead him, and did not do enough research and testing of the investment model. One of the biggest problems was that David did not distinguish between real investment opportunities and fraudulent models. Not only do these schemes lack transparency, they also create imbalances in the way they operate. They promise attractive returns, but do not provide any details about how the platform works or the potential risks. Lessons learned. David's story is a warning to those who want to earn passive income quickly. In reality, nothing is free, and passive income schemes always require serious research, testing, and risk assessment before participating. Don't let greed blind your mind. The only way to generate sustainable passive income is to build a solid system, have a clear strategy, and be carefully controlled. Conclusion: passive income can be an important part of your journey to financial freedom, but only if you understand it well and are willing to invest effort, time, and sometimes money. Don't be fooled by promises of huge profits without doing anything, as most of them are dangerous traps. Always check carefully, do thorough research, and be patient with your passive income journey. The right mindset when building passive income. Passive income is not a destination, it's a tool. In the financial world, passive income is often seen as the destination for many people. Everyone wants to have a stream of money flowing into their account without having to work continuously. However, few people realize that passive income is not the ultimate goal, but a tool that helps you have the right to choose the life you want. It's not just about making money automatically, but also a way for you to have more time and freedom to enjoy the important things in life. Passive income is a tool, not a destination. To understand better, imagine passive income as a key that opens the door to financial freedom. It helps you not have to depend on your day job to earn money. However, if you only focus on generating passive income without a clear plan, you may fall into the trap of depending on a single source of income, without flexibility and initiative in your life choices. When you build passive income, you are investing in a system that gives you more freedom in choosing how to live. You will no longer be bound by work schedules or financial worries. In fact, passive income is a tool that gives you the freedom to create the life choices you want, without being pressured by external factors. The story of Mr. David, a civil engineer who generates passive income. To better understand the right mindset when building passive income, let's learn about the story of David, a 50-year-old civil engineer from London. David has been an extremely hard worker throughout his career. He has devoted more than 25 years to the construction industry, and is the head of many large projects in the UK. However, when he turned 45, David began to feel that his body was no longer healthy enough to continue working at high intensity. Every day of hard work made his health decline, and he realized that work was not something that could bring long-term stability. Seeing this, David's wife suggested that he take a break for a while, so that he could have more time to take care of his health and family. However, the question that always worried David was if he quit his job, how would his family live without the income from his job? That's when he started thinking about creating passive income. Instead of continuing to work hard, David decided to invest in reputable corporate bonds, because this is a type of investment that is not too risky, but brings stable profits. David started to invest some of his income from his construction job in bonds, while also learning about long-term investment strategies. After 5 years, thanks to smart investments, David had accumulated a portfolio worth over £2 million. The bonds yielded an annual interest rate of around 9 to 10%, providing David with a steady stream of passive income. He received income from the bond interest every month, while not having to work continuously to make ends meet. David's right-thinking analysis, choosing long-term investments. David does not chase short-term investment opportunities, but chooses a stable and long-term investment method. Investing in bonds allows him to have a stable income stream without having to face the strong fluctuations that come with investing in stocks. Not dependent on a job, creating passive income helps David no longer have to worry about losing income if he can no longer work. This allows him to be more flexible in his life and less dependent on his daily job. Freedom to choose life. By building passive income, David has been able to spend time with his family, take care of his health, and participate in meaningful activities without having to worry about finances. This allows him to live his life the way he wants. Lesson learned. David's story shows that passive income is not an end goal, but a tool that gives you freedom to choose your life. There is nothing more important than using passive income as a means to do the things you love without worrying about money. Passive income is a tool that helps you reduce financial stress, create flexible life choices, and be able to spend time on family, health, and other joys in life. Conclusion. Passive income is an important part of the journey to financial freedom, but it is not the destination. To create passive income, you need to be proactive, patient, and have a clear strategy. Like David, you can start with small investments and slowly build up your cash flow automatically. Once you understand that passive income is a tool to create freedom, it will be easier for you to maintain and grow this source of income for a better life. Flexibility and adaptability in passive income. The story of Linda, a fashion store owner, in the modern financial world, especially when it comes to building passive income. Flexibility and adaptability are key to long-term survival and growth. No passive income model is static, and if you are not willing to change and innovate when necessary, you may fall behind, even if you have a steady cash flow. Passive income can bring financial freedom, but to maintain and grow this source of income, you need to constantly pay attention to changes in the economic environment and adjust your strategy accordingly. This becomes even more evident during volatile times, when factors beyond your control can have a major impact on your passive income model. The unchanging passive income model. Linda's story. To better understand the importance of flexibility in passive income, let's follow the story of Linda, a fashion shop owner in London. Linda started her business as a student, and after many years of hard work, she has a small but extremely successful fashion shop. Her shop specializes in selling high-end fashion products for people who love elegant and modern style. She has built a loyal customer base and always maintains a stable revenue. However, when the COVID-19 pandemic broke out, Linda faced a big challenge. Everything changed quickly. The shops had to close for months, and the loyal customers no longer came to the shop like before. Linda's revenue dropped sharply, and she realized that if she only relied on the old business model, she would not be able to overcome this difficult period. Situation analysis. Flexibility is key. Linda had to adapt to new opportunities. Linda did not let herself be carried away by fear or disappointment. She realized that in a volatile world, maintaining an old business model was impossible. Instead, she began to find ways to adapt to the changes brought by the pandemic. She did not give up, but looked for new opportunities, believing that the market could still survive if she knew how to adjust. Change in business model. Linda began to shift from a traditional sales model to online sales. She invested in developing an e-commerce website and actively promoted her products through social media. This way, she was no longer dependent on her physical store and could reach customers remotely. At the same time, she also set up special promotions and discounts for online customers, allowing her store to maintain revenue during the period of social distancing. Flexibility and risk management. Linda not only changed her business model, but also her management strategy. She began optimizing her supply chain, working with suppliers to minimize costs and maximize profits. She also turned to online inventory management tools to minimize the risk of product shortages when needed. This helped Linda maintain the ability to serve customers even when things got tough. Lessons from Linda's story. Flexibility is the key. Linda did not let herself be caught off guard by the pandemic. She proactively changed her business model, and it was this flexibility that helped her survive and thrive. This is an important lesson. In any situation, flexibility and adaptability are always the keys to overcoming challenges. Expanding passive income. By shifting to online sales, Linda was able to not only maintain her passive income but also expand it. Selling online allows her to be unlimited in terms of space, and customers can access her products at any time. She has built a solid passive income system by applying technology and optimizing business processes. Invest time to improve. Linda had to invest a lot of time to improve her business model, from building a website, optimizing the sales process, to promoting the product through social media. It was a long process, requiring patience and determination, but the result was that she was able to maintain a passive income during difficult times. Conclusion. Linda's story shows that flexibility and adaptability are key factors in the journey of building passive income. Passive income models are not static, and if you are not willing to change and improve, you will find it difficult to survive and thrive in a constantly changing financial environment. Linda not only survived the pandemic, but also expanded her passive income thanks to flexibility and adaptability. This is an important lesson for anyone looking to build passive income. There is no easy path, but with flexibility, you can build a sustainable and stable source of income. The key stages of passive income. Robert's story, a practical journey. There is no magic formula for building passive income that will help you succeed instantly. However, if you follow a reasonable and consistent process, you will build a steady stream of income. The 3 key stages of building passive income are Level 1, accumulation, Level 2, reinvestment, and Level 3, automation. The story of Robert, a British man, will help you better understand these stages and how to apply them in practice. Level 1, accumulation. From active work to saving for investment. The accumulation stage is the first and most important step in building passive income. In this stage, you need to have an active job to create a stable income stream, then use that income to save and invest in profitable assets. This is a solid foundation that will help you have the capital to continue building passive income in the future. The story of Robert, an accountant at a large financial company in London, is a typical example. Robert started his accounting job right after graduating from university, and although his initial salary was not high, he always committed to saving a part of his income every month. Like many others, Robert did not have any initial investment, but he started to accumulate gradually, with the goal of building a solid financial foundation. Analysis. This stage can last from a few months to a few years, depending on each person's income and saving ability. The important thing is that you need to have a clear savings plan and persevere. Most people ignore saving because they think that investing is only for people with money, but the reality is that you can start from very little and gradually create a large asset over time. Robert saves £200 a month and aims to save at least £2,000 a year. After 5 years of working, he has a stable savings account and starts thinking about investing in long-term assets. Level to reinvest, investing in income-generating assets. Once you have enough capital, reinvesting is the next stage to help you develop passive income. In this stage, you will start putting your money into income-generating assets, such as stocks, real estate, or investments in personal development courses, new skills. The goal of this stage is to make your money work for you, creating a steady stream of income. Robert's story. After 5 years of working and saving about £10,000, Robert decided to start investing in stocks. He carefully researched reputable companies and started investing in stocks that paid annual dividends. He is not in a hurry to make money quickly, but patiently invests in large companies with stable potential. Analysis. During this period, choosing profitable assets is very important. You need to do the math to allocate assets reasonably, avoiding focusing too much on one type of asset. Investing in stocks, real estate, or investment funds can be good choices. However, you need to understand each type of investment and have a long-term strategy. Robert invests in stocks of some large companies, such as Apple and Microsoft, which have a history of paying stable dividends. Every quarter, he receives a dividend from these investments, helping him increase his passive income. Level 3 Automation, Cash Flow Management and Optimization. Automation is the final and crucial step in perfecting your passive income model. Once you have productive assets, you need to set up automated systems to manage your cash flow and optimize your personal finances. This will help you minimize direct intervention and manage your passive income more effectively. Robert's story. After seeing his dividend income become increasingly stable, Robert began automating his investing process. He used online financial management tools to track his income and automatically reinvest it in potential stocks. Each month, a portion of his dividend income would be automatically transferred to his investment account without him having to do anything. Analysis. Automation saves you time and effort, while maintaining a steady stream of passive income. Online financial management tools, automated investing services, and asset management platforms can help you automate the collection and reinvestment of your cash flow. Robert uses an automated service from a fund management company to reinvest dividends into other stocks without having to get involved. This saves him time and optimizes the cash flow from his investments. Conclusion. The stages of building passive income are not easy, but if you take each step consistently and correctly, you will build a steady and sustainable income stream. Robert's story is a clear example of the importance of accumulation, reinvestment, and automation. Passive income is not a miracle. It is the result of investing time, effort, and smart strategy. When you have a solid foundation, a system that works, and know how to optimize your finances, you will be able to achieve financial freedom and live the life you want to be. Conclusion. Passive income, a long-term path requiring patience and practical strategy. Passive income is not magic. Passive income, a phrase that brings a lot of hope and desire. Who among us does not want a steady stream of income without having to work tirelessly? The idea of money flowing into your account while you sleep, go out or even relax is really appealing. However, the truth behind passive income is not always as beautiful as the advertisements say. Passive income is not magic. To get this source of income, you need a clear strategy, patience, and the ability to adapt to the constant changes in life. It is a process of building from a solid foundation, approaching opportunities intelligently, and most of all, not rushing to find immediate results. The story of Jonathan, an ordinary British man, can illustrate this. Jonathan has been a hard worker for the past 10 years. From an office worker, he decided to change his life and start building a passive income source. Initially, Jonathan did not have much money, but he invested time to research and learn how to create passive income from real estate. He started buying small houses to rent. However, this process was not easy. He had to learn a lot about the real estate market, learn how to manage properties, build a network of partners, and create a stable operating system. The first years were not easy challenges. Every time he had a rental income, Jonathan reinvested it in other properties, gradually building a sustainable investment portfolio. How to get started today? You don't need a huge amount of capital to start your passive income journey. Jonathan started very little, just a small house and smart investment decisions. The key is to have the right mindset and a long-term plan. If you approach it with a get-rich-quick mindset, or expect passive income without working, you will quickly fail. It's important to build steadily and not rush. Starting today, think about what you can do to create long-term value. You can start by investing in small assets like real estate, stocks, or even investing in yourself by learning new skills. The most important thing is to have a strategy, patience, and the ability to adjust when necessary. Sophia, a British woman, started her passive income journey when she first started working. Although her initial income was not high, she always saved a portion of her income and invested it in index funds, with the long-term goal of building wealth. Sophia focused not only on the money she earned, but also on developing healthy financial habits, thereby increasing her ability to invest and create sustainable passive income. The final message: freedom does not come from money, it comes from understanding money and no longer being controlled by it. The final advice is, freedom does not come from money, but from understanding money and no longer being controlled by it. We live in a world where people are racing for money, hoping to earn a lot so they can retire early and live comfortably. But in reality, financial freedom is not simply having money, but the ability to control the flow of money and use it to achieve the life you want. Jonathan understands that to achieve financial freedom, he needs more than just money. He needs to understand how money works, invest in the right opportunities, and manage his assets wisely. He doesn't let money control him, but instead uses money as a tool to create freedom, the freedom to choose the life he wants to live. Conclusion: passive income is not an easy or quick path. It takes persistence, strategy, and most importantly, you have to be willing to pay the price in time or money. But if you have the right mindset, patience, and the ability to adapt to change, you will achieve a sustainable stream of passive income that will give you financial freedom and the power to choose your life. Starting today, let's look at what you can do to build a secure and free financial future. Surely throughout your journey of learning about passive income, you have realized that there is no easy and natural path to success without patience and a reasonable strategy. Just like Jonathan's story, an ordinary British man was able to build a sustainable passive income stream from slow but steady steps. You can do it too if you know where to start and have perseverance. Subscribe to the channel to not miss out on future opportunities. If you want to have a stable financial life, freedom and not be tied to a regular job, then understanding finance, investing and passive income building strategies is indispensable. And you can absolutely start that journey right now, just like how Sophia started with a small savings to invest in index funds, or like Jonathan did in building a coffee shop franchise system. To help you take more solid steps, subscribe to our channel now. You will not only receive useful videos about finance and investment, but also understand how to build sustainable passive income. Let us help you master important financial knowledge, step by step towards financial freedom and the life you have always dreamed of. Don't miss the opportunity to change your life. Subscribe to the channel now and press the notification bell to always be updated with the next valuable videos about financial strategies, investment models and how to build passive income. Starting today, you will not only learn how to make money, but also learn how to master your cash flow and create a free life, not tied to tiring jobs. Take what you learn and put them into action. We'll be with you every step of the way, providing you with the knowledge and strategies to create passive income and build a secure financial future. Don't wait any longer, subscribe today.